The thing is, you don't want to typically control a fever, especially not with medication. And this is where we get into this really kind of interesting concept. So you probably, because you guys have a pharmacy, were familiar with Celebrex and Vioxx, and when they had to pull it off because all of a sudden what happened, we reduced inflammation, but we were only supposed to control, it was a COX-2 inhibitor, not a COX-1 inhibitor. And so we thought, hey, if we give you a COX-2 inhibitor, this is going to be great. We're going to prevent inflammation, except we caused heart attacks and death with it. Oops. Now, why do I bring that up? Ibuprofen is a COX-1 and COX-2 inhibitor. And COX-1 is actually necessary for healing. And some inflammation is necessary for healing. And one of the things you'll hear frequently in the conventional community is if you have a fever, give Tylenol. Tylenol is one of the worst drugs you can give. And in fact, I just saw yesterday Dr. Paul Thomas, who's out of Oregon, pediatrician, that's all he worked with. He just posted a whole series of articles on why Tylenol is so bad. Here's the problem with fever control. If your body and health is a pendulum, and we take it and you have a fever, and it comes out here, the body has a fever for a reason. If we give you something and artificially force it back down here, the body's going, wait a minute, we've got a problem. And it tries to revamp the fever. And when it kicks the engine up, the fever gets higher than it was before you gave the medication. That's called a rebound fever. We see this all the time. In fact, they will tell parents, watch for the rebound. When the fever goes back up, just give another dose. The issue is that that fever is there for a very specific reason, and there are other ways to control it. You will hear frequently, if you get to a fever of 104, 104 and a half, oh my goodness, you better medicate the fever. I will tell you, clinically, it is not the number that is concerning to me. It is the behavior of the individual that is a concern. I had a child come into my clinic, probably 7 years ago. Parents brought this child into me listless. He was literally, when we say people will talk about, oh, I'm lethargic, but they're still moving and functioning. True lethargy is when you're non-responsive but maybe awake. That's medical lethargy. This child was close to medical lethargy. I looked at the parents and I said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do homeopathy, hydrotherapy in my clinic. If this child doesn't respond with my entire supervision the whole time I'm with them, I'm calling 911 and this child's going to the hospital. Now, I took that fever. Most people go, oh my goodness, I bet the fever was high. Kid had a fever of 100.
Wow.
100 and had medical lethargy. It is not the number that is concerning. It's the behavior of the patient that is concerning. I treated that child in the office, homeopathy, hydrotherapy. After we were done, the kid was up and playing, was completely normal. And the parents were like, what just happened? And I said, we just supported the system. The next issue with the fever number, you don't actually cook the brain till about 109. Okay? Well before you get to 109, you're going to see very serious signs and symptoms that you're on your way to the ER for. That is when you control those, because now you have something that's potentially killing that individual, which means you have signs and symptoms that are pointing towards that, and you've tried to monitor. The issue with giving the medication, and Lori mentioned it depletes glutathione, which is why if you drink alcohol, take Tylenol, you deplete glutathione so fast that you actually need to give glutathione to offset that, or you can try NAC to offset that, but that can be life-threatening. It depletes glutathione, which is a major antioxidant produced by the liver. But when we force the body into a particular direction, it allows whatever is there to grow faster, and if we keep doing it, we actually can make the problem more serious, and it takes longer to recover and heal. There are ways to simply use cold water or apple cider vinegar on towels because the vinegar evaporates, it pulls the heat off. There are ways to control the fever to make it more comfortable without interfering with the physiological process so that the body can actually do what it's doing.